Welcome to the County Manager's Report, and I do mean managers. We have two here with us today. I'm Lloyd Higuera, and with me is outgoing, I guess you could say, County Manager Steve Mokrohiski. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Lloyd. Great to be here.
And we also have Interim County Manager Larry Werner. And Larry, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. And you're kind of getting initiated into the process today of the County Manager's Report.
Exactly.
You've been shadowing Steve all this week, right?
Yes, yes. It's been very interesting.
He's going to try to forget everything that he learned this week, and then he can start fresh next week.
Exactly.
Be much more productive, I'm sure.
And for those that don't know, of course, Steve is heading for Oregon, and you'll be leaving Friday, won't you?
Yeah, Friday, April 11th is my last day in the office, and I'll be around for a couple more weeks in transitioning, and it's very bittersweet here to say goodbye to Douglas County after 5 years, but I think a lot has been said and enough, I'm sure, already. My wife and I and our kids have loved the opportunity to live and serve this community, and we're going to miss it greatly. But we'll be back as visitors and enthusiastic supporters of everything that happens positively here in Douglas County.
Well, that'll be fun. You have to come back for the opening of the community center.
No doubt.
Since you were such an integral part of that.
Yeah. I was one small piece of a number of people who were really influential in that, and I look forward to it. I hope I can come back and quietly stand in the back row and watch the celebration.
Well, you, of course, are going to be the county administrator for Lane County.
Right.
And the major city is?
Eugene. Eugene and Springfield are the metropolitan area in the center of the county, and then the county runs from the Oregon coast. Florence is a community near the coast, all the way to the Cascade Mountains on the east. So it's a very, very large, over 4,000 square miles and about 350,000 residents there. So I've got my hands full for sure.
I guess. And do you think you'll be bumping into previous county manager Michael Brown?
I sure hope so. Yeah, Michael's a great guy. He's served Douglas County well. He's doing a great job in Hillsboro, Oregon, just outside of Portland. And I stay in touch with him still. And we commiserated a little bit about this move, and he continues to support everything that's going on in Douglas County. So hope to cross paths with Michael as well.
Well, that's great. Well, let's jump into the April 3rd meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. And oh, look, right on top of the list here, Commissioners appointing Larry Werner interim Douglas County manager for a 6-month period, while Commissioners conduct a nationwide search for a new county manager.
That's right. And I'll let Larry, just if Larry'd like to introduce himself. And I think most people know who Larry is, and he's been a really wonderful contributor to this region. But why don't you introduce yourself, Larry?
Thanks, Mike. Or Steve, sorry about that. I was thinking about Michael Brown, too. But yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, I had retired from Carson City mid-December and had gone down to the Mesa, Arizona area. And when I got back, I had a phone call waiting for me to go to lunch with Steve to chit-chat, I think is what, And that's when the question came up, would I be interested in doing this interim position? And it was really an honor to do that. I've been a Douglas County resident. My wife and I have grown up in this area. I mean, I think we're both 5th and 6th generation out of this northern Nevada area. Yeah, and if I can do something to help keep it going the way it should and keep the programs going that Steve and his staff have put together, then that'd be a great deal. And I'd really enjoy it and pave the way for the new county manager to come in and take over and run the ship. So.
Now, you were only retired, Larry, for a few months from Carson City. So you're jumping right back into the fray here.
Yes, I think it was like 95 days or something like that.
95 days.
Yeah.
Retirement does not suit you well, does it?
No, but it does take. I found in that 90 days, I kind of enjoy just being able to kick around with a cup of coffee in the mornings and not have to worry about coming to work. But for this, it was exciting. I think it was really something I'm very proud to be able to try to do. So.
Well, Larry, welcome back aboard, because you were also Public Works Director back in the 90s for a few years.
Right, yeah. Very interesting. I got enticed away by a local engineering firm here, the Vasey Engineering, years ago, and ended up being a partner in that, and ended up back in the Seattle area. But yeah, Douglas County, Nevada has always been home. We're back. So.
Well, that's great. Well, there's really not too much more to say about that particular item. I mean, Larry's on board, and he'll be guiding the ship here for the next 6 months.
That's right. Yeah, and the board is and the staff are all really supportive. Larry, he'll do a great job here, and I think, as he said, smooth the way for the next person to come in and continue all the positive things that are going on here.
Okay. Well, also, commissioners approved funding for the Vista Grande Enhancement Project at their meeting. That's in the Indian Hills area at a cost of $900,000, with those funds coming from the Douglas County Redevelopment Agency.
This is, we've had a long running discussions with Indian Hills General Improvement District and the residents in that area about this road. It's a section of Vista Grande from Micah to approximately Amador Circle, I believe it is. And Douglas County is responsible for maintaining this road. The vast majority of the road is within the redevelopment area, so it qualifies, in the scope of the project qualifies for redevelopment funding. And it's in disrepair, not only the condition of the road, but the fact that there's no curb, gutter, sidewalk, bike lane, and so you have a lot of pedestrian issues. And the portions of Vista Grande that Indian Hills GID is responsible for does have curb, gutter, sidewalks. So you have this kind of interrupted section in the middle. So we're trying to complete that, improve the road. Indian Hills has indicated that they would like to take over maintenance of the road. So that will save Douglas County our road maintenance funds over the course of 20 years. We believe over $300,000 in that. And Indian Hills wants to take it over because they can do a better job maintaining that in their backyard. So really nice public-public partnership there between two local governmental agencies, and we believe it's going to be a wonderful enhancement for the residents in the area.
Now, is that area located in the redevelopment agency area?
It is. There's a very small portion of Vista Grande that is outside the redevelopment area, but it still qualifies for the project because the vast majority is in, and even that outside area creates a connection between the two. If you remember the Genoa Vista Trail project that connected Wally's to the town of Genoa, that almost the entire trail is outside the redevelopment area. But because it connects to redevelopment areas, it qualified for funding. So we had to go through a rather extensive process with the board in the public meeting to demonstrate how this project meets the findings from the state under the redevelopment agency laws. And we did that in the meeting. The board approved the project and the funding, which is available in the current year's budget, as well as some funds from next year's budget too. So we're really excited about this road maintenance and enhancement project that will enhance pedestrian access to James Lee Park, so there's recreation amenities. It'll enhance access to the commercial area up on Micah Drive. And so it's, again, a really nice project there. And we look for the design and engineering to occur this summer, and then for the majority of the construction to occur in the summer of 2015.
It is kind of reminiscent of the Genoa project, isn't it? I mean, it's a definite improvement to a long stretch of road there.
Yeah,
in the community, right
it
in
has,
the center of the community.
that's right, it has a number of elements of that. And then the other portion that we'd like to be able to pursue in the coming years is the section between Jacks Valley Road and behind the Best Buy and Walmart there. That's the unimproved section of road. It's on U.S. Forest Service land. We're trying to acquire that property through a lands bill or get an easement from the Forest Service so that Vista Grande will actually run all the way from Topsy Lane down to Amador Circle and beyond there. So good improvements from a public safety access standpoint, from a traffic safety and alternative route for 395. It has recreation access components to it, pedestrian access. So really nice, well-rounded project, we believe.
Okay. Well, also introduced by commissioners was an ordinance amending Douglas County Code to clarify live entertainment and special event as used in the liquor code. And I recall this item, when they changed the code, it caused a huge amount of confusion, didn't it?
There was confusion, so some of this was clarifying the new language in the code. There are some problems we've seen, particularly in the town of Genoa, because Genoa is really unique. It's got general commercial, it's got neighborhood commercial, and then it's got residential. And it's a small confined area, so you have wonderful attractions like the Genoa Bar and Tombstone Grill, which is now closed and for sale, but was operating there. The Genoa Station, some nice restaurants, and they love to have entertainment. So they like to have live, particularly at the Genoa Bar and at Genoa Station. They have live entertainment outdoors in the summer months. Well, there had been some conflicts about the understanding of the number of events they could have, how late those events could go, the impact on the residents who lived in that area. So this was an effort. What we did was we created a working group comprised of the county manager, representatives from the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, business owners and residents of the town of Genoa to try and clarify these, how many events they could have, how late those events could go. And particularly, as you indicated, Lloyd, relating to live entertainment, special events, and application approval requirement. They're concerned you only could come forward, they wanted to have approval well in advance so they could notice these things and book entertainment. So a lot of this was cleaning up, clarifying the definitions of the liquor code related to live entertainment, special events, clarifying the various liquor license classifications and endorsements, and clarifying the application and approval process for special events, including live entertainment and outdoor live entertainment permits. So that was the first reading. It'll come back. There were some comments from the board about wanting to allow outdoor acoustic, not limit the number of people, or at least expand the number of people, if they have these sort of little jam sessions that are not amplified outdoors, that you allow a few more people to participate in that. So we're contemplating that, bring it back for a second reading and adoption of the board in the future.
Okay. Also, commissioners adopted an ordinance between Douglas County and Clear Creek Development. This was to identify timing and payment schedule for the water improvements loan.
Right, and this is, we believe, a nice public-private partnership that where there's a private development that is putting infrastructure into service that new development in Clear Creek, but there's also an opportunity for the county to connect our water line from Jacks Valley Elementary School down to Bavarian, which is where Clear Creek connection is, and then all the way down to Montana, so that we have this loop for our West Valley customers there. So we've developed a development agreement here between Clear Creek and the county, where the county will contribute $1 million towards this water line improvement, but then we will be paid $1.1 million back. So 10% will be returned. In addition, will be returned to 110% total back to the county with interest there, as well as a security bond. So we're making sure that as part of this private development, not only do we get good public infrastructure for our taxpayers and ratepayers in our water system, but we also have protection there that if something were to happen with the development, that the county is covered.
And this was adopted on a second reading, so this is now finalized.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
This is done, and we are going to come back. The board wanted us to come back as part of the due diligence process to bring back to the board a discussion about the security bond itself and what bank, what financial institution is going to back this and be on the hook. And so, I think this is an example of the board making sure that they do their due diligence so that we don't have, this has happened in the past in years and years ago on different development projects where some things were lost. There weren't security bonds that were in play, and so the board's really making sure that we have everything covered here.
The
which
good
is
old Nevada handshake.
No longer.
No
No
longer.
longer just a handshake, yeah. You got to have it in writing.
It's not working anymore. Huh?
No, writing 5 times, secured by a bond.
Okay, also commissioners introduced an ordinance to increase the maximum size of an accessory dwelling from 800 square feet to 1,200 square feet on lots that are a minimum of 1 acre, and this drew a little public comment, didn't it?
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't think we necessarily were anticipating that. There was a lot of discussion, I think, at the Planning Commission about it. There were a number of residents who got up and said, well, this might drive more 1,200 square foot buildings that go up for rental purposes on these 1 acre lots. I think the board unanimously approved, as I recall, it was unanimous approval of the first reading of this ordinance. And the feeling, you heard a number of commissioners say, well, we hear that, but realistically, the cost for connection to water and sewer or doing septic, well and septic, and then connection for utilities for a 1,200 square foot rental property is not financially feasible. What this is likely going to be for, the code already allows 800 square feet accessory dwelling. This is just contemplating going up to 1,200 square feet, mostly for what's called an in-law suite, right? For a mother-in-law or parents or children, family members who would go into an accessory dwelling. So this zoning text amendment change had 3 components: to increase the maximum size of the accessory dwelling from 800 to 1,200 square feet, which the board introduced. Eliminate the requirement that the accessory structures that are not accessory dwellings in residential zones be required to match the materials of the main dwelling, and then require that the accessory structures themselves in the residential zoning do have to be compatible with the color of the main dwelling. So there, some cleanup and consistency there, and then potentially allowing for an additional 400 square feet of space.
Okay, I guess we'll hear more about this one.
Yeah, that one will come back.
Okay. Commissioners adopted a resolution proposing the issuance of general obligation limited tax water bonds in the maximum amount of $1.5 million.
This, and we've talked about this before, this is with the Sierra Country Estates water system that
Right.
Douglas County acquired. It's a failed water system Douglas County was forced to take over. And so there are some improvements, a water line connection and improvements to the system that need to be made. We've said this repeatedly, and we will keep saying it, that this Sierra Country Water Systems, Sierra Country Estates water system that Douglas County now owns and operates is being accounted for separately from the Carson Valley Water Fund and from Lake Tahoe Water Fund. It is its own department, accounted for independently, and all the costs incurred for that system, for the improvements of that system, will be borne by the residents of that system, not by the other ratepayers or taxpayers in the county. So this was the adoption of the resolution to go move forward and issue the up to $1.5 million for that water line connection and other improvements.
Now, in the past, there never was any money put away, was there, on that water system?
Yeah, right.
To do make repairs or
And
improvements?
they're paying exorbitant monthly water rates in the Sierra Country Water System because they have 17 properties. There's a very small customer base. There's high consumption of water use, at least that we believe to date, and the operational costs per resident is high, and then you have a significant amount of capital improvements. So the costs, again, that's why we want to make it clear that those costs are not going to be borne by any other water customers or residents in Douglas County. And that's why they're so high, is because there's a significant amount of investment, operation maintenance costs, and a small number of people to pay for it.
Right, which is the case with a lot of our water system, or the county water systems.
True, yes. I mean, well, I'd say particularly at Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
At Lake Tahoe, we those systems where we have a small number of customers, and they're, many of them have some failed infrastructure that need to be repaired in the next couple of years, $14 million, and a lot of people to recover. The Carson Valley water system is in pretty good shape from the standpoint that we are building reserves in order to pay for the future capital needs, and the rates are more stable, certainly, than they are up at the lake or in Sierra Country Estates.
Okay. Well, Commissioners heard a presentation on Douglas County's investments held by BNY Mellon, and this time Commissioner Greg Lynn didn't pick on the guy.
No, they were good. Yeah, and I think, we are... are you trying to cause trouble here, Lloyd?
No. But it seems like in the past, Commissioner Lynn had issues with the people when they came.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I
Yeah,
think there
all
were
that.
concerns about those investments and things like that. And the really tough thing is, I think there's frustration from some people that, and Larry knows this from Carson City, our interest earnings are
Nil.
not. Yeah, I mean, you've seen 20% returns in the market over the past couple years. If you're an investor, if you have retirement investments or other portfolios, well, governments can't invest. Right. We have to have guaranteed returns. We can't invest in risky investments. We need security, liquidity, then yield. Yeah. That's the order. Is number one security, number two liquidity, number three yield. So our returns have not been what they are for private investors, but we're limited in our abilities on that front. So. We'll continue. I think they continue to provide updates on that. We are looking at forming a task force or committee of the chief financial officer in the county, the clerk treasurer, the county manager likely, and then a resident who has some financial management investment experience to review our investments and to provide recommendations to the board and the investment firm. So.
Okay. And in general, the money has been in safekeeping, though, with
it has been
the Mellon
that
funds.
is the key, is that it has to be in safekeeping and secured and liquid, and then we pursue the best return on investment that we can get.
Sure. Also at that meeting of, what was it, April 3rd? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I lost my place. Commissioners heard a presentation on Douglas County. No, they heard a presentation on selected sites for permanent and temporary polling places for early voting and primary elections.
Right, and so we do have an election coming up. The primary election is June 10th. and then the general election in November. The main location for voting is the historic courthouse at 1616 8th Street. The satellite locations include Kale Community Center at 236 Kingsbury Grade, Topaz Ranch Estates, Fire Station at 1476 Albite Drive, Sunridge Fire Station at 3620 North Sunridge, Gardnerville Ranchos Fire Station at 940 Mitch Drive, and finally Johnson Lane Fire Station at 1450 Stephanie Lane. So those are the polling places for the primary and likely for the general election.
And is there any real changes there from
Nope,
previous
those
years?
are
That's pretty much it?
yeah, those are to my knowledge, those are the standard locations for voting in Douglas County.
Okay. There was an appointment commissioners made to the Douglas County Planning Commission. They appointed a Lake Tahoe resident.
They did that. We had a vacancy because Jeremy Davidson, who's a Douglas County resident and local business person, relocated, as I understand, to Reno. And so he vacated his seat on the Planning Commission. We posted this publicly. We had 4 applicants who included Anj Nith, Marco Caldana, Nicholas Meyer, and James Beatty. 3 of the individuals, Ms. Niff, Mr. Caldano, and Mr. Beatty, attended the meeting. They all spoke. All did a really nice job, presenting their qualifications. I think it's great that we got 4 applicants this time. We have not always generated that much participation. They all appeared to be great applicants with great experience. So the board, there were some motions and votes that went different ways. They ultimately voted 5-0 to appoint James Beatty, who's a Lake Tahoe resident. So he will be, I believe, the only Lake Tahoe resident on the Planning Commission. So it's nice that we have a representative from Lake Tahoe on the Planning Commission. Commissioner McDermott and the other commissioners really wanted to see that if possible. They encouraged the other applicants who weren't appointed to continue to watch out for vacancies and apply because they were really pleased with the quality and the number of people we got.
And he attended his first meeting yesterday.
He did.
As
How
a
was
matter of
that? I
fact,
wasn't there.
Yeah, no, it was a good meeting, a quick meeting. It took about 45 minutes, something like that. So,
Great.
Yeah, and he did a good job. And he said before the meeting that he wasn't going to talk too much. He's going to do a lot of listening. So
Good.
A wise man.
Yes, that's good. That's a good
the
way
way
to
you do
start.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, one more here. Commissioners appointed Planning Commissioner Don Miner to the State Land Use Planning Advisory Council. What do they do exactly?
They are a state board that reviews different land use issues around the state, and each county in the state of Nevada is allowed an appointment, as I understand. Typically, it's a planning commissioner that serves, that's nominated, and I believe that's what has to happen here is that Douglas County has to nominate to the state who would be the representative. Jeremy Davidson, who was on our planning commission, was the representative. So again, because he vacated the planning commission,
Right.
we also had to fill his spot here. So we had 2 members of the planning commission, Jim Madsen and Don Miner, who were interested in that, and the board voted to nominate Don Miner for that post. So he'll do a great job serving in that role.
Okay, so that pretty much covers the meeting of April 3rd. How about a preview of the Board of Commissioners meeting?
This,
for April
I do
17th?
not think this is fair.
Uh-oh.
Larry's first meeting on April 17th, and I think it times out at like an hour.
Oh,
So I'm not sure how you orchestrated that.
Just, yeah.
it's a good man.
Yeah, it is good, man. I think it's an indicator of things to come here that, very efficient running a government here. I'm not, step up maybe from what we've had. But so we do, it's I think should be a rather quick meeting at Lake Tahoe on April 17th. We have an update from Mary and Steve Walker, who are Douglas County's state lobbyists. They will update on the 2014 state legislative activities. So I think that, they're interim, this is an interim session, so they have
Right.
some interim committees and things going on, and they'll talk about, typically work that's going on in the interim and then plan things that are coming forward. And I don't know, Larry might have some comments on thoughts for the 2015 legislative session. Certainly school education funding is a big one, community college funding is another one.
It's going to be a big one for local government.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So, and that's something, Larry, having been the manager of the capital city in Nevada, will be well placed to, I think, help Douglas County get set up for that legislative session. So we'll hear an update from the Walkers on that. We'll have a second reading on the Judicial Services Department, an ordinance
Right.
to create the Judicial Services Department, which would transfer court clerks from the clerk's office to the Judicial Department. And then we have a plan development modification application on development schedule for Cave Rock plan development, and that is it at
Oh,
this point.
good heavens.
So it's a nice start to your term as interim manager.
No, it's nice having a short meeting, but Larry and I are going to have a lot of time left over at the end when we discuss those
You're gonna
three
have to
items.
figure out what to talk about.
Maybe we
Yeah.
can talk about the previous county managers.
Yeah. Or maybe do you fish or have any hobbies we might have in common or
Oh,
something?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll figure it out, exactly.
I told him he gets 3 months to blame the last guy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
3 months and then you own it. Probably more than that.
Well, that pretty well covers the meeting and the upcoming meeting. We do have a little bit of time left over. Do you want to do it one last time? Do that good old, internet plugs for the
Yeah, our
the county
website.
website. You have to
Yeah.
learn a whole bunch of new websites and things now, too.
I know, yes, yeah. DouglasCountyNV.gov
Right.
is our website that we revised a couple years ago, and we just continue to update it, and we encourage people to go on to DouglasCountyNV.gov, and you can sign up for a Notify Me. You can put your email address or your cell phone number, and we can send you a text or an email of different news updates. You can sign up for emergency notifications. So particularly as now we're heading into the official fire season,
Yeah.
and it's been another dry winter, relatively speaking, and so we got to track that carefully. But as we have natural disasters and emergencies that happen in the community, we post things and then you can get emergency notifications. So we post these videos, 30-minute, or in the condensed version, 5-minute version, to the website. We do newsletters and regular news updates. So a good way for people to engage and access information about their local government.
There's a lot on there, and I'm sure, Larry, you've been studying it, right?
I have, actually, I have. Yeah, I find it ways to keep kind of current on what's going on. I think Steve has done, and the staff has done an excellent job, because there are a lot of questions that come to mind after I go to some of these meetings, and it's amazing what you can find on the website.
Yeah.
They've done a very, very good job on that.
Okay.
One thing we've talked about, and we're probably wrapping up here, but that we've talked about doing, and that I know they do in Carson City, is streaming audio and video of the board meetings. And this is something that our staff is starting to work on, and Larry, I'm sure, will be involved in, continue to move that effort forward so that residents can actually go online and watch the video. You can watch live streaming, you can see the agenda, you can see the meeting going on. You can go back and look at archived video from the meeting.
Right.
So it's another layer and level of opportunity for people to see what's happening in the public meetings.
Yeah, I think in the region here, we're one of the last counties to get on board with
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, it is something we need to do.
Yep.
And it is really nice when you can go to the agenda and look at the item that you want to see
Yeah.
and go right to it, rather than having to wade
Right.
through the entire meeting.
Yep.
Because usually people have one or two items that they're interested in, and that's it.
Right. And we've got a nice partnership going with the clerk treasurer, Ted Thron, who, and we're looking at these process improvements and efficiencies. And now, the county manager's office and the board have kind of taken over some of those clerk to the board functions. So there's a lot of this process improvement that you're going to see in the efficiency of how meetings are set and scheduled and recorded, and then pursuing things like streaming audio and video. You've got kind of a seamless operation there. Where in the past it's been a little bit disjointed. So a credit, I think, to the board's leadership on that, and to Ted Thron's leadership in really working with the board and the county manager to say, this is the right thing to do to really improve the way in which our meetings function, and we plan for that and have accountability in the future.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Steve, I sure want to thank you for, putting up with me here on the county manager's
been
report
great,
for all
right?
these
Yeah,
years.
it's been my pleasure.
You've been doing a great job, and you will do a great job, of course, up in Oregon, too. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Definitely. And Larry, we welcome you on board.
Thank you again.
Next edition of the County Manager's Report, it'll be you and me. Okay. Well, I want to thank Steve
Thank
Mokrohiski,
you.
our departing Douglas County Manager, and Larry Werner, our interim County Manager, on the County Manager's Report. And we'll see you next time. I'm Lloyd Higuera.